With Daredevil Born Again finishing with the return of the Punisher, and not too long before that, season 3 of Invincible wrapping up, I think there's enough mental meat for me to make a meal with, even if it's a small one. So here we go. No kill rules. You know them, and you love them. From Batman abjectly refusing, to other heroes like Daredevil not doing it for, religious reasons, to others not doing it out of overall societal good or operating within the rule of law. There's no shortage of reasons for not sending criminals and villains to the Shadow Realm. The reason I'm popping in to make this is the Snyderverse video I've hopefully put out by now, and specifically the neck snap heard around the world.
Kalel, no!
Now, I don't have a problem with that neck snap for a number of reasons, but, a lot of people do. And I'm gonna try not to get bogged down in the multiple layers involved in the moral actions taken in a fictional piece of media, while at the same time getting my point across. My point is that a no-kill rule really only makes sense in a fictional world when that world allows for it. And allowing a character to kill isn't a bad thing, and, makes more narrative and moral sense sometimes anyway. It also doesn't mean that if they kill some people, that it automatically means that they must then kill everyone. I mean, this isn't a religion. Killing isn't a black and white choice. People aren't Skynet, and, killing Hitler doesn't mean I now need to kill a teenager for stealing shoes. Now, I'll be using 4 characters to make my point. Batman, Daredevil, Invincible, and Superman. And, let's go ahead and try and make this quick. Daredevil Born Again has wrapped up, and the return of our favorite murderer Frank Castle has spawned all sorts of discussion, particularly with the handling of the real-life issue of police officers adopting the iconic skull logo as an homage. But we're not here to discuss the issues with police in America, though. Let's talk about the Devil of Kitchen Nightmares. Wrong show. Hell's Kitchen. Devil of Hell's Kitchen. Let's talk about the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. Got it. Okay. In the beginning of the season, Bullseye, my boy, Ben Bullseye Poindexter, kills Foggy Nelson, prompting Matt to batter Bullseye, and then in a fantastic moment, allows Wrath to break his will. I mean, Bullseye isn't dead, but that's not the point. Matt tried to kill him, and now Matt has to suffer the mental consequences of that choice. Something that I find way more interesting than him struggling over making it in the first place. Because killing people and seeing people die all the time messes with your brain, of course. Now, the foundation of Matt's no-kill rule is an old one. Matt is Catholic, and vengeance is not his. It's God's. Thou shalt not murder, and all that, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, blah, 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 blah. On top of that, Matt is a lawyer. Fundamentally, his vigilantism is both in support of the rule of law and a consequence of the failures of the law. He's a vigilante so that he can be a lawyer, and he's a lawyer so that he can be a vigilante. And still, even with that, he can't find a balance. He ultimately works in concert with the law and doesn't take lethal action into his own hands. And he doesn't need to. He also doesn't do anything the police can't do. The police are shown to have corrupt elements, but within this world, it's shown that they are very willing and very able to kill criminals when the need arises, even if they're doing it illegally sometimes. So throughout the series, when Daredevil spares someone from death but grants them eternal paralysis, we can accept it. He deals with regular humans who, when they cross certain lines, can and will be dealt with by the police. Even with Kingpin, he can be beaten and he can be put in prison. Even if he ends up buying people off. I beat you! And the real reason he keeps getting out of prison is because apparently, somehow, Daredevil has no other compelling villains to put on screen. Yes, I know they're doing a storyline. Yes, I know Kingpin is central to that storyline. But that's not my point, okay? You get my point. Kingpin is overexposed. And even when he thought he killed Bullseye, it's wrong according to his own worldview, but he still allows Daredevil to have that ultimate delicacy by engaging in a cardinal sin. Wrath. We don't have to get into some sort of a theology session here to discuss why that is more relevant to Daredevil's character than to anyone on the list. We can just move on. Superman. You know him, you love him, the Man of Steel, the Man of Tomorrow, the man from U.N.C.L.E.? Anyway, Superman mostly doesn't kill because it's basically entirely unnecessary for him to do so. Superman isn't aiming to plug the gaps in the broken system like Daredevil or Batman, because his stomping ground isn't Hell's Kitchen or Gotham. It's the entire world. And when he deals with someone or something powerful enough to truly threaten him, it's an extinction-level threat. And Superman is one of the characters that gets caught in a weird net of like conflating morality with the character in and of itself.
I have to believe that Superman would try to kill Zod almost immediately if the alternative to Zod being dead was 150,000 people dying.
Go watch it. I'm not even going to paraphrase it. It's like 9 or 8 minutes or something like that. I don't think killing another conscious being is out of Superman's character. I don't think anyone would flinch if he killed Darkseid or Steppenwolf, but they would probably want him to do it like indirectly or something. What they don't want is him snapping someone's neck so hard it creates a shockwave. I will discuss this at a later date more in depth, but killing Zod in that way was on purpose. The script, or at least the original idea, wasn't for Zod to die. They wanted to put Superman in a situation where he had to kill Zod. The way Zod escapes banishment to the Phantom Zone feels natural, but the actual scene where he kills Zod feels forced. But the sentiment itself is fine. Superman is in a situation where you either kill someone or other people die, period. Now, you can say Superman would never be in that position, but that's stupid and it's a cop-out. This is just a hypothetical, the kind of question Jordan Peterson is allergic to answering.
I'll give you an example. If you're like in like Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's like Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them, would you lie to like the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that situation
would you
to
lie?
begin with. It's a hypothetical. It's
You
not
can't answer
answerable.
hypotheticals?
Are you serious right now, bro?
I can't answer a
Anyway, the answer is yes. Duh. Finally, I've never really heard anyone talk about him destroying the ship with the Kryptonian genetic material in it. I actually think that they're supposed to be like actual embryos. But Zod tells him, like, if you destroy the ship, you're gonna destroy Krypton. And then he says, Krypton had its chance, and he destroys it in like a heartbeat. Anyway, I've spent long enough on this. Superman's no-kill rule isn't a rule, it's just unnecessary in most situations. In a situation where he needed to kill, he would. Okay, moving on. I have already discussed my issues with Invincible, so this will be a much shorter section, hopefully, if I can not crash out. Daredevil operates underneath the police, filling in the gaps of maintaining street-level peace. Superman is a one-man country, and he offers, like, humanitarian aid, disaster relief, and yes, he responds to threats all over the world. Invincible's world is more like a super fucked-up Power Rangers or something. You know, the Power Rangers are literally soldiers. It's just the way that they're presented is goofy and lighthearted. But Invincible is like if Power Rangers lived in the world of Rick and Morty. Those same stupid, goofy-ass aliens, the tongue-in-cheek Justice League references, all of that is now super serious. And in Invincible, we watch Superman brutally murder the Justice League in the first episode of the series. It's clearly a tone setter. I won't litigate my entire Invincible video again for obvious reasons, but I'll put it like this to prepare for the Batman portion of this video. In Invincible, superpowered people work directly with government agencies. Invincible works with the Global Defense Agency. He's basically a NATO agent. He is a soldier fighting wars on the street. The discussion about killing in Invincible stops and starts at what the rules of engagement are for war or for police officers. Outside of that, Invincible's struggle isn't about the morality of the show, it's a personal thing. The moral question has been answered for him already. It's like this: the show puts Invincible outside of a school where children are being murdered by a school shooter, and then asks the audience to believe that Mark is worried about whether it's okay to kill the school shooter to save the children, or that he's seriously considering whether it's okay. Meanwhile, they keep showing close-ups of dead children with their skulls blown open or crying as they choke to death on their own blood, to drive home how awful it is. Isn't it so terrible, how brutal the world is? And then we cut back to outside, to Invincible, who's now using a loudspeaker to try and talk no jutsu, a character whose only stated goal is to kill as many children in schools as humanly possible. And it just so happens that this guy's name is Mr. McSchoolshooter. I love killing children. And then Invincible finally stops him after he's killed 90% of the children in school, and he cries out how sad it is the kids die, and then how senseless and terrible the world is, and then he goes home and happy and cries to Jesus and prays to the Lord. I'm so sorry. I did it again. I crashed out. Moving on. Batman. The Dark Knight, the Caped Crusader, the Bat. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Batman's parents were killed. Okay, jokes aside, out of everyone on this list, Batman killing is like the biggest no-no, somehow. When Snyder's Batman indirectly killed, in this clip we'll call it vehicular manslaughter, because later on he straight up kills several henchmen in a warehouse before literally blowing up KG Beast to save Martha. The Batman in the Snyderverse clearly operates by the Castle Doctrine. Not Frank Castle, but Castle as in the type of building. It refers to the legal statutes for defending your home or property with lethal force. Except in this case, the castle we are speaking of is all of Gotham. To me, it makes sense for Batman to kill. He has already encountered the Joker in this film, and the Joker has already killed Jason Todd. Now, with that being said, the more conventional Batman is a fucking goofball. Batman is analogous to Daredevil in a way that Invincible isn't to Superman. They occupy the same space when it comes to their place in maintaining law and order. You know, a quasi-partnership with the police. The only two differences are the threats Batman deals with are far more grand, and his list of allies and equipments for dealing with those threats upgrades him from a simple, like, street-level vigilante to really a one-man militia. And the second one is that Batman doesn't fundamentally care about the law the way that Daredevil does.
This is wrong.
Let's get to the point, because you know what I'm here to really address. The Joker. Why doesn't Batman just kill this snaggle-toothed motherfucker, or at least let him die when he's about to be killed? I love the scene from Arkham Origins, my favorite Batman game, where Joker first becomes obsessed with Batman because of this very fact.
Now why would you do that? Newsflash! I'm the one who's trying to kill you!
I mean, and the fact of the matter is, this is comic book nonsense. More than any character on this list. Not only Batman's willingness to break all sorts of other laws to get his job done, this kind of no-kill rule clearly doesn't extend beyond the initial decision. I don't want to dive into comic book history too much, but everything about Batman's world is pretty much engineered to make sure criminals don't die. Somehow every criminal ends up in Arkham or in prison, even when they commit both federal and state crimes that would be an automatic death sentence. Somehow they make it to jail even though they routinely kill police officers, which, if you live in the United States, might be the most unrealistic thing in any piece of fictional media ever. You know, they literally blew a guy up with a bomb in Texas for killing like 2 cops. Killing the police is clearly a no-go in real life. In Daredevil Born Again, a vigilante gets tried for the death of 2 corrupt cops. And the death was an accident, by the way. He gets acquitted, and the very next time he's out on patrol as a vigilante, a cop finds him and shoots him in the fucking head. But somehow the Joker is still alive. So when Batman explains to Robin/Red Hood why he won't specifically kill the Joker...
No! God almighty! No! It'd be too damned easy. But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
I believe him. It would be easy, Batman. It'd be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. And I'm not buying the slippery slope argument, specifically from a guy whose will can overpower a lantern ring. If there's one guy that can really, handle the sauce when it comes to the power of life and death, I would say it's Batman. It's kind of a non-starter. Oh, if I kill, where does it end? I don't know, buddy. Open a law book, or maybe study moral relativism, or many different ethical systems. So really, at the end of the day, Batman doesn't kill because Batman doesn't kill. I'm fine with it, and the world allows him to do it. Anyways, let's move on. Throughout the video, I've mentioned morality multiple times, but I want to highlight something everyone intuitively understands, but isn't often really said. Killing someone isn't what we find immoral. Murder is immoral, and there are differing degrees of murder. The mother that went to prison for killing the murderer and monster of her daughter is not the same as the guy who did the initial crime. The man who waited in disguise outside of the courtroom and killed the man who molested and killed his son is not the same as the guy who did that original crime. I don't think most people would say that what they did was immoral, but really that it was more wrong in terms of what is best for society. It's something that should be frowned upon. It was illegal, and they've got to do the time for doing the crime. They must be punished for breaking the law. But the police officer who steps in to kill someone who's in the process of committing a lethal crime, or even who kills someone who has a deadly weapon that makes, aggressive movements after refusing orders to disarm, typically isn't seen in a negative light by most people. Probably even those who are skeptical of the police. Almost everything we care about when it comes to the moral actions of characters in any piece of fiction is based on the context of the situation, the world around them, and their juxtaposition to the law. Okay, I'm just yapping at this point, so that's all I got for you. Peace out.
Ain't that too friggin' psycho?